Hi, my name is Bryce Jones and you're watching iMining's Weekly Tech Update. You may have heard that iMining has recently acquired BitBit Financial, which allows the company to revolutionize the fintech industry. Acquiring BitBit has opened the door to many opportunities, allowing iMining to connect the digital asset industry and the traditional finance sector. Kaseya, the remote management software vendor at the heart of the ransomware attack that has targeted as many as 1,500 downstream networks, claimed that it had obtained a decryptor to restore encrypted data during the 4th of July weekend attack. Affiliates of REvil, one of the most vicious ransomware groups on the internet, exploited a zero-day vulnerability in Kaseya's VSA remote control product in Miami. The ransomware operators were able to compromise 60 customer networks using the vulnerability, which Kaseya was only days away from patching. The extortionists then infected up to 1,500 networks, which depended on the 60 customers. REvil demanded $70 million to obtain a universal decryptor, which would allow affected organizations to restore their data after the attack. Spokeswoman Leadholm declined to comment to confirm if Kaseya paid any sum for the decryption software. Kaseya has since fixed the zero-day attack. REvil is believed to be one of many ransomware organizations that operate out of Russia or Eastern European countries that were once part of the Soviet Union. After President Joe Biden had warned Vladimir Putin about the dangers of ransomware organizations operating out of Russia, the US threatened to take unilateral action. Let's continue on to how the recent Android malware was detected and spread via the Google Play Store. It uses a novel method to increase the ability to harvest login credentials from more than 100 banking or cryptocurrency apps. Researchers from Threat Fabric, an Amsterdam-based security firm, have identified Vultur as the malware. It is one of the first Android threats to capture a device's screen when one of the targeted apps are open. Vultur, like many Android banking Trojans, uses accessibility services embedded in the mobile OS. Vultur then uses these services to gain the necessary permissions when it is first installed. The malware uses an overlay from other malware families to accomplish this. Vultur then monitors any requests that trigger accessibility services. Vultur begins screen recording after it is installed. VNC implementation by Alpha VNC is used. The malware uses ngrok to remotely access the VNC server on the affected devices. This app uses encrypted tunnels to expose local systems behind firewalls to the public internet. Vultur records the screens of any of the 103 affected Android cryptocurrency or banking apps running in the background. Spain, Australia, and Italy were the top 3 countries targeted for the highest number of banks. The malware can also be used to steal credentials for Viber Messenger, TikTok, and Facebook Messenger. Traditional key logging is used to harvest credentials for these apps. To end it off, let's talk about how the 2021's infamous chip shortages aren't only affecting automakers. Apple and AMD are the 2 largest customers of the semiconductor foundry TSMC. However, this problem isn't restricted to TSMC. Intel, which has its own foundries, admits to having its own supply problems. Pat Gelsinger, Intel's CEO and president, said to BBC that the shortages would get worse in 2021's second half, and that it would be a year before normal supply level return. Gelsinger stressed the importance to build new foundries such as Intel's, located currently in Arizona. But he warns that the foundries will take time to get up to speed and begin alleviating shortages, predicting a year to 2 years until we're back to some reasonable supply-demand balance. This news comes after Intel announced a delay for its 7nm technology, which is not expected to be available until 2022. Intel may be able to benefit from supply chain shortages caused by the pandemic. Although Intel is lagging behind Apple and AMD in performance and power efficiency, it can only go so far without sufficient supply. That's all for this week. Join us again next week for more information on what's happening in the tech world.